Sales email layouts, styles that get replies. Why layout is the fastest lever to pull in cold email. B2B inboxes are crowded, filters are stricter, and most prospects decide whether to ignore you in a few seconds. In recent benchmark data, average cold B2B reply rates landed at 5.8%, which is a realistic normal for teams running outbound at scale. That's exactly why layout matters. When performance is tight, small readability wins compound across thousands of sends. We can't control a prospect's mood or what their spam filter flags this week, but we can control how our message presents on a phone, how quickly it communicates relevance, and how easy it is to reply. The goal of a sales email layout isn't to look impressive. It's to make the message effortless to skim and impossible to misunderstand. If your outbound is handled by an SDR agency or an outsourced sales team, layout becomes even more important because consistency drives results. In this guide, we'll break down the sales email layouts and formatting rules we use at SalesHive to help clients turn outreach into conversations. You'll learn practical guardrails, word count, sentence count, spacing, proven structures for first touches and follow-ups, and the most common layout mistakes that quietly crush reply rates. You'll also see how to operationalize layouts so your reps aren't reinventing the wheel on every send. How buyers read, skimming, mobile, and the real email effect. Most decision makers don't read cold emails, they scan them. Eye-tracking research consistently shows an F-shaped pattern, where prospects skim the first line, skim a second line, then scan down the left edge looking for meaning. That means your first two lines and the first few words of each line do the heavy lifting. So long sentences and dense paragraphs are working against you. Mobile is the default inbox for most people, with roughly 55 to 60% of emails opened on mobile and about 42% of users deleting emails that aren't mobile optimized. If your layout requires pinching, zooming, or hunting for the ask, you're leaking pipeline before the message is even evaluated. A single column, plain, typed by a human look is usually the safest bet for cold outreach. There's also a performance reason to avoid heavy design in outbound. In one widely cited analysis summarized from Marketo and HubSpot testing, plain text or very simple emails produced a 17% higher click rate than HTML-heavy designs. For a cold email agency or outbound sales agency, this is good news. The best performing layouts are typically the simplest ones to build, standardize, and scale. Length and structure guardrails that keep emails reply-friendly. Top-performing cold emails don't sound short, they are short. In Belkin's analysis, emails with 6 to 8 sentences and under 200 words delivered the best outcomes, including a 6.9% reply rate in that band, which aligns with older, large-scale findings that response rates peak around 50 to 125 words. If you want a practical target for first-touch outbound, we typically keep most messages in the 75 to 150 word range unless there's a strong reason to go longer. The easiest way to make short emails consistently is to write in micro-paragraphs. Think one idea per paragraph, with 1 to 3 short sentences and a visible gap between thoughts so the eye can move quickly. Your email should still make sense if the prospect only reads the first line, the first few words of each subsequent line, and the final question. One more guardrail that's often missed is the inbox layout. Subject line, preview text, and your first line are a single unit. Personalized subject lines can be about 26% more likely to be opened, so we treat subject plus preview plus line 1 as the real headline. If the first screen doesn't clearly say, "This is relevant to you," the body never gets a chance. 5 sales email layout styles that consistently earn replies. For first-touch outbound, the plain text value pitch is our default because it's predictable, skimmable, and doesn't look like marketing. The structure is simple: a personalized hook tied to something true about the prospect, a one-sentence problem framing, a specific outcome, one proof point, and a low-friction question. If your team can't say it cleanly in that order, the offer probably isn't clear enough yet. When the prospect is likely feeling the pain already, a short PAS layout, problem, agitate, solve, works well as long as it doesn't become dramatic. The agitate line should quantify a real cost, lost pipeline, lower connect rates, longer ramp, not insult the reader or guess wildly. In practice, it's 2 lines of context, 1 line of proof, then an ask that makes replying easier than ignoring. For later touches, we rotate in layouts that feel like natural follow-ups rather than re-pitches. A case study snapshot format compresses credibility into 1 or 2 sentences, while an objection pre-handle layout acknowledges a likely concern, timing, budget, internal resources, and offers a smaller next step. And when you've sent multiple touches, a simple breakup layout can work because it reduces pressure and restores control to the prospect, still with one clear question, not multiple options. If your prospect can't understand the relevance and the ask in 10 seconds on a phone, the email is too long or too messy. Formatting rules that make the same words perform better. Most layout wins are just readability wins. Keep lines short, keep paragraphs short, and avoid walls of text. A 3-sentence paragraph is usually the upper limit in cold outreach. Use natural spacing so the eye can rest between ideas, and place your proof point on its own line or at the beginning of a sentence so it's visible in the scan. Your CTA should look like a reply, not a form submission. We like ending with one specific question that can be answered in a few words because it reduces friction and feels conversational. If you include a link, like a calendar link, it should support the same single CTA, not introduce a second decision. If you need a secondary resource, a short PS often preserves flow. Finally, keep the human email feel. Heavy styling, multiple colors, and banner-like formatting can push messages into promotions or make them feel mass sent, which matters when you're targeting executive inboxes. For teams running sales outsourcing or pay-per-appointment lead generation programs, simple formatting also improves execution quality because it reduces room for rep-by-rep variation. Common layout mistakes that quietly kill response rates. The most expensive mistake is burying relevance. Decision makers report that 71% of ignored cold emails lack relevance, and layout often amplifies that problem by hiding the context under long intros. If your first 2 lines are about you, your company, your platform, your awards, you've delayed the only thing the prospect cares about: why this matters to them. The second mistake is asking for too much. Multiple CTAs, book time, watch a demo, download a PDF, force the reader to choose, and choice creates inaction. Overlinking also creates deliverability risk and can make an email feel like marketing automation. For cold calling companies and cold email teams alike, the goal of the email is usually one thing: start a conversation that earns the right to a meeting. The third mistake is forgetting mobile testing. What reads clean on a desktop can become a dense block on a phone, especially when reps paste long URLs, add signatures with multiple lines, or include unnecessary legal disclaimers. The fix is simple. Every template should be sent to a phone, reviewed in a real inbox app, and edited until the hook, proof, and ask are visible without scrolling too far. How we optimize layouts in real campaigns and what to test. Once you have a handful of strong layouts, the next step is testing layout variants, not just rewriting copy endlessly. We typically test short versus slightly longer versions within the proven bands, PS versus no PS, and one link versus no links, while keeping targeting and the core offer constant. Reply rate is the first filter, but we care most about qualified replies and meeting booked rate because that's what fuels pipeline. Personalization should be integrated into the layout, not bolted on. It's not enough to drop a faint eye token. The personalization needs to appear where the eye goes first, and it must clearly connect to the problem you solve. That's why at SalesHive, we use our eMod personalization engine to research each prospect and insert relevant context into a fixed, high-performing structure, so scale doesn't force us into generic templates. We also recommend coordinating email layout testing with other channels, especially if you're running cold calling services or B2B cold calling services alongside email. A clean email layout makes the follow-up call warmer because the prospect can instantly remember what you sent, and your voicemail can mirror the same one-sentence problem and one-question CTA. Done well, email and calling reinforce each other instead of competing for attention. Next steps: standardize layouts, train reps, and scale replies. The fastest way to improve outbound consistency is to standardize a small set of layouts and enforce guardrails. In most programs, we recommend maintaining 3 to 5 core templates that cover first touch, follow-up, proof-heavy touch, objection handling, and breakup. When your SDRs can choose the right layout quickly, they spend more time on research and personalization and less time wrestling with structure. Operationally, document the rules where reps actually work, inside templates, snippets, and sequence steps. Include word count and sentence count targets, define what 1 CTA means, and require mobile checks before a template is approved. This kind of process discipline is what separates a good-looking outbound program from a predictable meeting engine. If you want help implementing this at scale, this is the work we do every day as a B2B sales agency and sales development agency. Since 2016, we've booked 100,000 plus meetings for 1,500 plus clients by pairing proven email layouts with strong targeting, list building services, and high-velocity execution from an outsourced sales team. Whether you're looking to hire SDRs, improve deliverability, or align email with a cold calling agency motion, the playbook is the same: simple layouts, clear relevance, one ask, and relentless testing.